Take the K3 train from Beijing to Moscow. There is an international train from Beijing to Moscow, the capital of Russia, which lasts for 127 hours. It is very suitable for your National Day holiday, allowing you to travel to 3 countries at once. Its name is K3. K3 is under the jurisdiction of Beijing Railway Bureau, and all train attendants are Chinese. It departs from Beijing Station at 11:22 on Wednesdays, and arrives at Moscow Yaroslavly Railway Station around 1400 hours on Mondays of the second week. We began operating this train on May 24, 1960. This train departs from Beijing, with 5 stops within China, 7 stops within Mongolia, and 24 stops within Russia. At the beginning, the passenger service of the train was provided by the Soviet Union. After the dissolution of the Soviet Union, with the rise of trade between China and Russia, most of the main passengers on this train became commercial personnel. Passengers carried various goods on this train, gradually transforming the K3 train into a type of truck. After more than 60 years of operation, this train still travels through the endless scenery between China, Mongolia, and Russia today. However, the passengers on this train have changed, from former government officials to most tourists. It is obvious that everyone is coming towards the vastness of Siberia and the depth of Lake Baikal, which often leads to overcrowding during peak season and difficulty in obtaining a ticket. The scenery on this road is really beautiful. Leaving aside China, the beautiful scenery here in Mongolia can captivate you. There are the most beautiful sunsets, mountains, valleys, grasslands, and gullies here, which are truly magnificent. When the train enters Russia, what awaits you is the blue lake water of Lake Baikal, which blends with the sky. Traveling through Siberia for 2 days and nights, there are snow-capped mountains, birch forests, lakes, waves, sky, and birds. The K3 train is the most expensive train ticket in China, and also the most beautiful train in China. The K3 train is a train that travels from Beijing to Moscow, crossing 3 countries and 36 cities in China, Mongolia, and Russia. It runs across the Eurasian continent, covering a total distance of 7,819 kilometers. It takes 6 days and 5 nights to depart from Beijing. The train number used within China is K3, the train number used within Mongolia is 003, and the train number used within Russia is 003 secondary. Tickets are available for the entire journey from Beijing to Moscow, with a high package, deluxe soft sleeper, ticket price of 6,080 yuan, a hard sleeper ticket price of 3,793 yuan, and a handling fee of 50 yuan. Tickets for the K3 train are not available online and must be purchased offline. Moreover, tickets are hard to obtain, and many people may not be able to grab them. The ticketing location is generally 9 Jiangguimen Street, Beijing, first floor of Beijing International Hotel. The K3 train will have many beautiful scenery along the way, including the Yan Mountains in Beijing, the grasslands in Mongolia, and Lake Baikal in Russia. The scenery along the way is very beautiful, which is why it takes more than a day by plane from Beijing to Moscow, and the ticket price is not much different, but one would choose a train that takes 6 days and 5 nights. In this train, passengers can experience a variety of advanced train carriage configurations, including specialized high-end private rooms, dedicated bathrooms, restaurants, entertainment rooms, and even bars. The K3 train uses European standard sockets, and the voltage in the high package is 220 V, while the voltage marked on the hard sleeper car is only 46 V. Although the voltage marked on the hard sleeper car is far lower than the current plug's 100-220 V, except for the original Apple plug that cannot be charged, all other plugs can be used normally. The ticket office in Beijing is located in the aisle on the left side of the lobby of the Beijing International Hotel. International trains can be booked up to 45 days in advance, with a deposit of 100 yuan per ticket. Passport numbers are not required when making reservations. After the reservation is completed, the full payment must be made on the date requested on the receipt, 7 or 8 days before departure, and the passport number must be provided. Only cash is accepted, and international hotels have ATMs available for pickup. Whether it's booking or paying in full, you don't need to be in person. If it's inconvenient to go to Beijing, just ask friends in Beijing to help you buy. July is considered the peak season for travel, but judging from the situation on the car, there are still many vacant seats, so travelers don't have to worry about not being able to buy tickets. Special reminder to everyone about the entry time. K3 is located at the Nosh base station, which is the night of the second day according to the schedule, and will enter Russia. Therefore, the visa must be effective on or before the same day. Some passengers on our train mistakenly thought that entering Moscow was the only way to enter, but the visa was not yet effective and they were deported. After obtaining the Russian visa, the Mongolian transit visa can be processed. In fact, the merchant found online only need 3 working days to approve it. The Mongolian visa is effective from the date of issuance and is valid for 3 months, with a maximum stay of 10 days. K3 International Train Communication. I traveled the entire journey from Beijing to Moscow on the train. I got off the train and bought a megaphone card with 950 rubles of 16 gigabytes of data, and 20 gigabytes of YouTube data. Additionally, Facebook and Instagram offer free data, and 1,200 minutes of domestic calls. Now roaming is very affordable, especially the Belt and Road roaming package of China Mobile. But the problem with roaming is that domestic roaming needs to cross the wall as well as Google Maps roaming. The most important thing is that Google Maps roaming cannot be used, so Mongolia needs to roam for a day. As for Russia, it is better to buy a SIM card online in advance. Due to the freedom to switch between local operators during roaming, Unitel has the best signal coverage in Mongolia, while MTC, in Russia has the best signal coverage in Siberia. If you want to buy a Russian SIM card on a certain platform, it is recommended to first consider MTC. However, the good news is that along the K3 route, there is only 3G when the train is close to the town, and most of the rest of the time is on the 2G network. 4G is only available in a few large cities. Watching dramas and the like still requires caching. What does Zaman Yu do when he arrives at the station? Mongolian border inspectors get on the train to check and collect passports, and soon the passports return, which is quite efficient. Also, if you haven't applied for a Mongolian visa, it seems that you can apply for it at the border. If there is one person in the car, you haven't applied for a Mongolian visa, but got off the car to apply for it. Ulaanbaatar never expected such a cityscape. Ferris wheels and skyscrapers rise from the grasslands, clean and new under the blue sky. However, the new city still occupies a small area, while the rest of the city is still lined with low-rise apartment buildings. The train stops in Ulaanbaatar, and the station is open for free entry and exit. There is a place for currency exchange in the main building of the station, as well as a chain of cooked food shops and small shops. What does Noshki do when he arrives at the station? Russian border inspections are much stricter than those in Mongolia. Mongolia's border inspections are just a simple formality, and Russia also needs to open the box for inspection. At the same time, there is a cute working dog, a very small dog, which looks like an ordinary pet dog but bears the task of guarding the border. Unlike China and Mongolia, Russian customs have instruments carried with them, and border inspectors directly check and stamp passports on the train. Before entering the country, an immigration card is issued on the train. The immigration card is divided into 2 parts, with the same information to be filled in for arrival and departure. Similar to other countries that require entry cards, border inspectors collect half of the arrival upon entry, and the other half should not be placed randomly in the passport until it is taken away upon exit. When registering at the hotel, both the exit card and visa need to be presented together. How many more stops will the train make before arriving in Moscow? At 13:58, the train will arrive at Yaroslavl railway station on time. Yaroslavsky railway station, the cement floor of the platform is bumpy, and the luggage makes a clicking sound while being pulled. The platform is open, allowing for direct exit from the Communist Youth League subway station. The white building is right at the entrance of the battle, and you can take subway lines 1 and 5. The other building next to it is the Leningrad railway station, which stops trains in the direction of St. Petersburg. Catering for K3 international trains. Domestic segment. After the train started, the stewards began to issue quilt covers and tickets for domestic lunch and dinner. They simply cleaned up and went to the dining car to have a meal. Just in time for the meal rush hour, the dining car had already been full of people, so they had to pack and take it back to their room to eat. Of course, the quality of the free meal was predictable, but I was very pleased with the 2 meatballs. At night, there were only celery fried meat and shredded kelp left. The scenery along the way is not bad. Mongolian section. At noon, the wooden carvings and decorations of the Mongolian dining car are very distinctive. The price equivalent to 50 to 60 renminbi is still acceptable. Mongolian dining cars can be used in either the Mongolian ruble US dollar or the Chinese yuan, but the exchange rate of the Chinese yuan is extremely poor, about one-third higher. Therefore, it is still recommended to exchange for some Mongolian rubles in Iranhat. Russian section. The menu of the Russian dining car is in Russian and English, but there are no pictures. At the same time, it can only be paid in rubles, so it is better to exchange it for 1 or 2,000 rubles in China for convenience. The price of the dining car is acceptable, and the plate arrangement is also very careful. Pork baked with cheese, 450 rubles, smells and tastes delicious. Wings of chickens acute, 450 rubles. Fried turkey with vegetables for 50 rubles. Salad the Greek, 200 rubles, is very sour, very sour, very sour. Soup lamb soup is 300 rubles, with a very strong mutton flavor and only a few pieces. Borscht is 300 rubles. Borscht was originally a favorite drink, but Russian borscht is still delicious despite being topped with cheese. Vegetable broth, solyanka meat, 400 rubles, very salty. I remember the pancake is 160 rubles, and there are also snacks such as rice and vegetables. Sprinkle a little vegetable on top of white rice. There is a bread slice of 10 rubles as a side dish. If given the opportunity, the K3 train is really worth experiencing, and passengers can also plan a cross-border trip from Beijing, China to Moscow.